What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be talking none other than the EX-3 meta in Japan. What decks kind of just took the meta by storm, and surprisingly, it is not a tier 0 format. It's actually just a tier 1 format. Without further ado, let's dive into the video and talk about it. At 91 tops, so that's about 17% of the meta. So out of 534 decks, that is not like tier 0. The deck is good, don't get me wrong. It's a little less than its counterpart in BT10, where it got like 105, but that's only in like a, what, 14 deck difference. But 17%, it did come down a little bit from where it was standing. Next, Bloom Hydra. This is Bloom Lord with Hydramon in it, and this deck just goes off, and it just loves being the center of attention. Then we have Blue Flare coming up in third, with only 7% of the meta by 40 tops, compared to the big gap between these two. It's almost like this is a 30 gap, this is a 20 gap. And then, surprisingly, it's only a 10 gap between the 4th place and Blue Flare. So it's probably just preference on that. So we're looking at a small gap, nothing too crazy here. So that's about 10 deck difference. So not terrible. And then Gallopmon really creeped on Jesmon's territory at a 5%. Only just 2 deck difference on its top ratios. It's not out of the ordinary to see something like this. And then we did see EX-3 come in really close to Gallopmon. So, and then we have Dragon Links, Garurumon, Gaiomon coming in after that, Dark Knightmon coming in after that. Then we have Yellow Hybrid itself, then Mastemon, Alphamon, D-Brigade actually slowly climbing in. And Alphamon, remember guys, this didn't affect Alphamon until weeks, what was it, 5, 6, 7, and 8 or something like that, when they finally hit it with the ban list. Actually, no, it would have been week 6, 7, 8 right now that has been affected by the Alphamon hit. Then you have D-Brigade itself, followed by Machine Dramon, War Greymon, 4 Great Dragons, Security Con, Imperial Dramon. Let's move over to here so that we can just see it. You know, we got Imperial Dramon, purple red, which is the, you know, new Imperial Dramon, the one that you have to mill to actually go off. Then you have Grandis at 8, Brickmon. I mean, Brickmon. This deck is basically play Mega Zoo in a fusion kind of situation. So that's kind of where that goes. Then you have Bellastar coming up on the rear with 7. Aegis-Dramon, basically the Crab Shack deck that just takes, you know, sources out, plays them on your opponent's interaction turns. Kind of trying to do what, you know, what was it? Bogger Army's trying to do is by playing on your opponent's turn. So that's kind of how that's going. Minerva Loop at 5, actually similar to BT's 10's meta, where it's only had 5 tops as well. It's a deck that most players in Japan's meta that I noticed don't really play heavily is loop decks. They're not a big fan of it. If I'm noticing the trend, only a few players actually invest into loop style of play. So that's kind of where that's going. And then blue-green Imperial Dramon, about 5 tops as well. Yellow-purple Venusmon, slowly creeping up. If the hit happened sooner to Yellow Hybrid, the deck probably would have had more tops here and probably reached 12th place. I would think that's where that would have went. Then Mega Zoo itself, which is 4, you know, 4 decks, not bad. Magnamon, basically 4. D-Reapers, about 3. Gamamon actually had 2 tops. Beelzemon had 2 tops. Source Strip had 2 tops, and that's just a deck that is just straight up removing sources constantly with the new option you can take from the top, and then so you don't lose out on that. Blue Hybrid actually had 2 tops, 1 Gabumon, 1 Bahomon. Edamon actually had a top this format. Red Purple Control had one top. Dragomon had one top. Shakuyumon's Control about one. Genkumon 1, and Discard Aggro 1. So we had some really good come-arounds here with 534 decks. So let's take a quick look at what 10 of the big boys looked like. So first off, we did have our big boy Shoutmon taking the lead. So let's take a look at it. You know, the normal trends here, you know, Digitama or Pikmons, anything that had Crossheart in it was kind of used for the deck. And then you kind of use very interesting, like this list is very interesting. Let me pull up a more streamline list, shall we say. Let's open up this one. Let's see if this one looks a little bit better. There we go. This is the more streamlined version. That one had a little more jank into it, but they're looking like they're moving into 2 Death X territory. You know, the 2 ties, Ty and Kari, Mikey, Angie, Jeremy, and then Sunrise Buster as their big removal, especially since how powerful it is. Even in hitting security, it can really benefit you a lot. I mean, the deck is still ridiculous. ×4 can separate itself, going on play, draw 2, and then you can just go instantly right into ×5, which is more pressure that way, and that's free. This one costs 1, so it's not terrible in the slightest. But outside of that, we will look at Bloom Hydra. This is more the standard list you will see. They use some Atatori. This card is basically for the matchup against Crossheart, being able to stun their Mikey, stun something that is very important to them, and make it so that they can't loop is really important. They have to waste resources to do so. So that's kind of how that's going, especially since they do have access to Hydra here. So all turns when an opponent's Digimon is suspended, gain 1 memory for each other suspended Digimon with plant, vegetation, or fairy in one of its traits you have in play. This card is ridiculous because you build such a wide board that unless they have Death X to answer this board, usually this causes passing turn situations ridiculously. And in turn, if you have 2 or more suspended Digimon or plant vegetation in one of their traits, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of their deck. Such a very powerful control element. And we know how Bloomlord wants to OTK. It needed some way of just preventing its own death, and this is kind of the way there. And Cherrymon helps keeping the board from swinging into things you don't want. So, looking solid all around. I don't see anything out of the ordinary there. And then we do have Blue Flare. They do like playing this Blaulukamon security rookie. We don't have access to this, so this is going to be probably Madoki Beta for us. And that'll be our only kind of backup rookie here. We have Gosmon, Kumamon, you know, Greymon. Be able to search the top 4 cards of your deck really helps out. Decardramon, if your opponent builds a wide board, you can punish them by drawing a bunch of cards with the on-deletion save, and that really does help out. And then, you know, Metal Greymon with this Greymon underneath it provides 2 attacks. What's ridiculous is if you can do this twice in a turn, you get, if you have 6 memory, instantly go like, hey, I'm gonna drop 2 of these Metal Greymons. They have Rush, they swing in, restand, giving you 4 attacks. That's just, it's pretty much powerhouse. And they use this card, Sorari, so trash the top 4 Digi-Evolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon, and all your opponent's Digimon, no Digi-Evolution cannot attack until the end turn. This option is nuts, because being able to shut down certain builds, especially if they go wide, removing the top 4 means X Antibody can't stop you from removing the top 4, where X Antibody basically stopped 1 trigger, so that meant you lost something. Now you're not losing anything. And then you have blue memory boost, you know, adding cards and setting up, and it's just ridiculous because it pluses you 2 and might play a Christopher for free, which is huge because even going first, that's massive tempo right there. And then Gallopmon really put in some work. The reason for that is it actually has some mill advantage here. What do I mean by that? Like War Growlmon here is when Digivolving trash the 3 cards from both players' decks. Then if you or your opponent has 5 or more cards, you may place 1 Gallopmon or Tocado from your hand or trash without paying its memory cost. So basically, it sets you up, gets you a Tocado ready, and that's huge, especially because being able to mill is really important. And especially here on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a 3000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash two cards from both players' decks. Especially, that's huge. Being able to fill in and speed up this deck's overall win con, and that is this, being able to remove security for free. That's really important, and that's just sometimes you are always just a little bit short, but being able to now eliminate that short tempo issue, that really does help out. Jesmon just spews out the bodies. There's never a moment that this deck doesn't just go like, bleh, you know, spitting up, throwing up into all these Sistermons, you know, Sistermon CL, and then, you know, Sistermon Blanc, and then Sistermon Nor. And this is just how this goes, basically. And I don't expect anything different here. And then the last deck I really want to look at is none other than our, you know, Examon decks. I could definitely take a look at Dragon Link real quick, but, you know, this deck is very powerful because the ability to redirect attacks, and it has a decoy-esque effect in Invade, where it kind of protects it ridiculously easy, and that's kind of big. Being able to basically have your Digimon survive a turn that is ridiculous. Where's the evade? Evade. When this Digimon would be deleted by spending this Digimon, prevent that deletion. Why wasn't this given to black? Like, seriously. That's huge. Evade is a huge keyword, and then you don't have to produce and spam out such heavy protection. And that's just how this deck wants to go about it, is just their big boss end is a 2 of, by the way. It's never like a 4 of, but the deck just plays so nastily. And what's really nice about it is you don't need a crazy lot of old support to actually build this deck. And that's really important. Like, the starter deck stuff is all you really need for this deck to go off. And then you have all the big boys here. So, I mean, that's really important. And then let's take a look at the big Kahuna here. What was I going to look up? Oh, Dragon Links. Dragon Link. Or it's Links. Dragon. I wish that it would have showed me more, but apparently it did not want to show me more. This is Dial Brickmon's dragons. No. Link. Let me see if I find it here. Sorry about that. Usually I'm a little more organized. Let's take a look. This is just a basic deck here. You know, using Hina to basically, when your opponent has a Digimon play, gain 1 memory. And then when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Rock Dragon, Earth Dragon, Machine Dragon, or Sky Dragon in traits, by suspending this tamer, activate one of its on-play effects. So it fixed the issue of on-play. You know, you have Metallic Dramon for on-play, de-digivolve all your opponent's Digimon. That's huge. And if no Digimon was deleted by this effect, all your opponent's unsuspended Digimon cannot digivolve until the end of the next turn. Shutting down Digi-Evolution was huge. We have Volcandricmon. Delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. If no Digimon was deleted by the effect, your opponent can't play Digimon with 5,000 DP or less until the end of opponent's next turn. This is very much a control-oriented deck. Just going to see how this deck plans out in the future. I think we have so much potential here. And I like the Ragnarlordmon top end. Really does help out. Outside of that, what other deck should we look at real quick? Oh, Aigestromon. That's a big boy. Aigestromon. Basically, this one is a deck that is just basically pull out something if your opponent is doing something. This deck is a very responsive deck. You have to, opponent's turn, when your opponent plays a Digimon, you may activate one of this Digimon's when Digivolving effects. That's huge, especially because it lets you, when Digivolving, you may play 1 blue or level 3 Digimon card or a Digimon card with Seadramon in its name or Aqua Sea Animal in one of its traits from its Digivolution cost of 1, your opponent, one of your blue Digimon without paying its play cost. Usually you use like Seadramon to bounce 2 bodies really easily, especially if they play 2 champions down. Really responsive. You know, Whalemon taking sources out as well. You know, Crab Shack, part of it is Ebedromon. So one of your blue Digimon gains blocker until the end of opponent's next turn. If this card was played by from Digivolution, unspend that Digimon. Not bad. Giving blocker is huge. This gives jamming. So just all in all, great stuff in this format. I can't wait to see how it responses over here. It is a best of 1. So guys, what did you think of the video? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace.